Our mission today is to completely deconstruct the INMO AIR3. We're going straight to the slides and the technical specs to see exactly what features it brings to the table.
And how those features actually perform in the real world, not just on paper.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at a completely wireless, self-contained wearable. No tethers, no extra processing pucks in your pocket.
And you're relying on your smartphone to do the heavy lifting either.
Exactly. The entire computing package is just sitting right there on your face.
And that all-in-one architecture is exactly why this specific device is so significant for us to analyze. What you are looking at is the world's first 1080p full-color waveguide AR glass setup.
Which is a mouthful, but it means a lot.
It really does. For a long time, the augmented reality industry basically forced consumers to choose between two highly flawed paths.
Right.
You either got a sleek, wearable form factor that could only display primitive monochrome text.
Like early smart glasses?
Yeah, exactly. Or you got actual usable visual fidelity, but housed in a bulky headset that looked like you literally strapped a shoebox to your forehead.
Definitely not a great look for the subway.
Not at all. The INMO AIR3 is engineered to be the point where those two diverging paths finally meet in a single, self-contained system.
To put the target experience into perspective for you, just imagine your standard morning commute.
Oh, this is the best part.
You are sitting on the train, and you have your daily weather forecast, breaking news alerts, your calendar, and a 150-inch virtual screen discreetly overlaid right onto your physical environment.
Just floating there.
Right. You are interacting with digital information, watching high-definition video, and absolutely no one around you has any idea it is happening.
It is a completely invisible interface.
So diving straight into the slides, let's look at the hardware that makes this possible. We really have to start with the optics.
The visual hardware is genuinely the anchor of the entire device. The INMO AIR3 utilizes a Sony micro OLED binocular panel paired with 1D optical waveguide technology.
That combination seems pretty critical based on the specs.
It is. Micro OLED allows for an incredibly dense pixel array while maintaining perfect inky blacks.
Because in augmented reality, you need those unlit pixels to be completely transparent, right?
Exactly. So you can still see the physical world behind the digital overlay, while the lit pixels need to really pop against whatever background lighting you have.
Right. And you mentioned the 1D optical waveguide. For anyone who isn't, an optical engineer, what makes a 1D waveguide different from other approaches?
That is a great question, because the waveguide is basically the magic trick of AR. Essentially, a waveguide takes the light from the hidden micro OLED display and bounces it through the lens directly into your eye. A 1D, or one-dimensional waveguide, reflects that light along a single plane. It is significantly lighter and thinner than the complex, multi-layered 2D or 3D waveguides you see in heavier enterprise headsets.
So by utilizing a 1D structure, INMO can keep the lenses looking like standard, slightly thick sunglasses.
Right, rather than thick, heavy optical blocks while still delivering a full-color image.
And the numbers backing up that display are pretty aggressive. The slides highlight a native 1080p resolution per eye.
Which is massive for this form factor.
Yeah, that is 1920 by 1080 pixels packed into a display area roughly the size of a postage stamp. It yields a pixel density of 62 ppd, or pixels per degree.
Yep.
Now, we see a lot of high numbers on spec sheets all the time. Does 62 ppd actually translate to a retina-level experience, or is that just a marketing flex?
No, it is a vital metric. 62 ppd is essentially the threshold where the human eye stops being able to distinguish individual pixels.
Okay, that makes sense.
To visualize it, think about looking at a high-end glossy magazine print from about a foot away.
You cannot see the dots making up the letters.
Exactly. That sharpness is exactly what AR has historically lacked. At 62 ppd, reading long-form text, browsing complex spreadsheets, or analyzing highly detailed charts becomes genuinely viable.
You aren't getting a headache trying to decode blurry text.
Hold on.
Now, that sharpness is deployed across a 36-degree wide field of view. 36 degrees might sound a bit narrow if you are accustomed to the massive wraparound screens of virtual reality headsets.
Right, the fully immersive ones.
Yeah, but in the context of everyday AR glasses, that is a very strategic sweet spot.
It really is. It creates the equivalent of a 150-inch portable big screen when your eyes focus at a typical viewing distance.
So it perfectly frames a cinematic video or your primary work windows right in the center of your vision.
without you having to constantly turn your head to find the edges of your display.
Exactly.
And that display needs to be versatile. You
Yeah.
are not just using this in a perfectly controlled dark room. The hardware features an adjustable brightness peaking at 600 nits.
Which is pretty bright.
Yeah, it ensures the visuals remain vibrant and legible across highly diverse lighting conditions, from a dimly lit office to a seat near a sunny window.
And what about the refresh rate?
They have integrated a dynamic refresh rate. It caps at a very fluid 120 hertz for interactive elements or scrolling, but it drops down to 60 hertz for static content.
Just to preserve battery life, I assume.
Exactly.
Speaking of using these in different environments, there is a privacy element here that I think is one of the most crucial features on the board.
What's fascinating here is the waveguide privacy technology.
Yeah, tell us about that.
The optical projection ensures that the screen is visible exclusively to the wearer. The internal structures channel the light directly into your pupil, which actively prevents light from leaking outward.
So you could be reviewing a highly confidential financial document or,
Or just watching a movie on a crowded flight.
right, and the person sitting inches away from you will just see a standard pair of tinted lenses.
Exactly. If we expect people to wear these in public spaces, truly discrete information consumption is just non-negotiable.
It essentially delivers constant connectivity without completely disrupting your social presence.
Yes.
But driving dual 1080p micro OLED displays requires serious processing muscle. Moving down the spec sheet, let's look at what is under the hood.
The brains of the operation.
Right. Inside the frame, the Air 3 is driven by a Qualcomm Snapdragon XR class 8-core processor.
And it is worth noting that this isn't just a generic smartphone chip.
No, the XR class is explicitly optimized for spatial computing and the highly specific thermal constraints of a device sitting directly on your face.
You definitely do not want your glasses overheating.
No, you don't.
Alongside that dedicated processor, the architecture includes 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Which is a lot for glasses.
In the realm of standalone, lightweight wearables, 8 gigs is a massive amount of memory. It's specifically engineered to allow for seamless multitasking.
And you also get 128 gigabytes of internal storage.
That local storage is vital because it establishes the device's independence.
You can cache applications, download media, save complex documents.
And store offline content, yeah. You are never left entirely dependent on a continuous Wi-Fi connection or a cellular tether to get utility out of the hardware.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The software ecosystem.
Oh, this is the game changer.
The device runs on a custom operating system called INMO AIR3, but under the surface, it is entirely built on Android.
This is arguably the most strategic decision in the entire product design.
Because right out of the box, it is compatible with over 90% of standard Android applications via Google Play or the INMO App Store.
That decision directly targets the historical empty app store problem.
Yeah, we've seen that so many times.
Over the last decade, we have seen massive tech companies spend billions developing incredible AR hardware, only to watch the product die because developers didn't want to build niche applications for a small user base.
But by making the Air 3 compatible with the existing Android ecosystem, INMO completely bypasses that graveyard.
Exactly. You do not have to wait for custom AR apps. You can directly install the tools you already rely on every single day.
YouTube, TikTok, your specific email clients.
Your enterprise productivity tools, yeah, they just work.
And that ecosystem flexibility radically transforms how you can use the device for actual work.
Because it can run standard Android apps, the INMO 3.0 software features a multi-screen workflow.
You can pin up to 3 floating windows simultaneously within your field of view.
Just imagine having a video playing in one window on your left, a spreadsheet open in the center, and a team chat application pinned to your right.
It takes that 150-inch canvas and turns it into a multi-monitor workstation that just fits in a glasses case.
And it isn't just a closed system for end users either. It is entirely developer-ready.
The platform offers an open SDK or software development kit.
But they have also integrated an AI agent platform based on 8AN.
Let's pause there for a second because then 8AN is a huge inclusion, but it is definitely a niche developer tool.
For sure.
For anyone not deeply embedded in back-end automation, what exactly is an 8N and why does it matter here?
Think of NAN as a visual workflow automation tool. It allows developers and even technically inclined users to connect different apps and AI tools together without writing thousands of lines of code.
So it is somewhat similar to Zapier.
Yes, but highly customizable. In the context of the Air 3, a developer could use NAAN to easily build a workflow where looking at a foreign product barcode instantly triggers a database lookup,
Wow.
translates the product manual via an AI tool, and projects the translated text right into the glasses.
It lowers the barrier to entry for creating incredibly complex, context-aware spatial apps.
Significantly.
Okay, so you have this massive Android ecosystem, you have 3 floating windows of productivity and custom AI workflows.
Yep.
But that brings up an obvious, glaring question. If there is no touchscreen, how are you actually clicking on that spreadsheet or scrolling through that feed?
That brings us to the interaction model, which is honestly always the biggest hurdle in spatial computing.
You cannot just poke the air efficiently.
No, Gorilla Arm is a real thing. INMO utilizes a versatile control scheme to overcome this. The flagship interaction method is the INMO Smart Ring.
It is a separate, discrete wearable that acts as a 3DOF, or 3 degrees of freedom, controller.
Right.
And just to clarify, 3DOF essentially means it tracks rotation. It knows if you are pointing up, down, left, or right, much like a laser pointer, correct?
Exactly. It isn't tracking the exact position of your hand in 3D space, but by tracking the rotation of your finger, it acts precisely like a spatial mouse cursor.
Huh?
You wear the ring, and with tiny, highly precise micro movements of your hand, you can point, swipe, and select menus right in the air.
But if you forget the ring, or simply don't want to wear it, you still have full navigation.
Thankfully, yes.
There is an integrated temple touchpad right on the arm of the glasses. You can just reach up to the frame and use standard swipe and tap gestures.
Beyond that, there are physical buttons on the frame for tactile control over volume and power.
And crucially, for that multi-screen workflow we talked about, the system have robust Bluetooth support,
Yes, you can pair a full external keyboard and mouse.
completely transforming the glasses into a traditional virtual desktop environment.
The control scheme also heavily relies on audio and voice,
Right. The slides mention a built-in voice assistant, which is currently in beta.
allowing for hands-free system navigation. To ensure that AI actually works in the real world, the hardware incorporates a 4-mic array.
Designed specifically for clear voice isolation and prompt recognition, even in noisy environments like a train station.
Exactly. And for output, it utilizes dual built-in speakers engineered into the temples.
They deliver immersive media playback and system notifications while keeping your ears physically open to the world around you.
Which perfectly transitions us into how the INMO Air 3 actually captures that physical world.
Let's look at the camera specs and the AI integration. Integrated right into the center of the frame is a 16-megapixel ultra-wide
Extra devices needed, perfect for everyday use. With advanced waveguide privacy tech, Air 3 delivers information discreetly without disrupting your social life.
Which is
It's your-
necessary to smooth out the inevitable camera shake that comes from a head-mounted lens.
No extra devices needed, perfect for everyday use. With advanced waveguide privacy
that
tech,
camera acts as
Air
the
3
primary
delivers information discreetly without disrupting your social life.
Right.
It's your portable big screen processor, anytime, anywhere. Control it all with the INMO Ring. Manage stocks, documents, and finances in one seamless flow. Powered by a Sony Micro OLED display and one-dimensional array waveguide technology, Air 3 delivers stunning 1080p visuals, bigger, sharper, more immersive.
Street sign in a foreign country.
Bored at home? Dive into a selection of interactive mini-games anytime.
Querying your surroundings.
It also opens up incredible avenues for remote collaboration.
AI tools are always ready. Capture moments and explore your surroundings with ease. Curious about what's around you? Air 3's AI scans and reveals your environment in real time. With a 16-megapixel lens and 120-degree field of view, you'll never miss the big picture or the small details. Shoot.
It is a massive leap in capability.
But, of course, driving dual 1080p micro OLEDs, an 8-core XR processor, continuous AI processing, and a stabilized camera requires significant power.
It sure does.
So let's look at the final critical section from the slides, the form factor and the real-world constraints.
The physical build itself is an engineering feat. It is a lightweight frame designed explicitly for extended use.
The design incorporates adjustable nose pads and ergonomic temple shapes.
To ensure a comfortable fit across different facial structures, yeah.
It genuinely looks and feels remarkably close to a standard pair of thick-rimmed glasses.
However, packing a complete standalone computer into a device that light requires strict compromises.
And the most notable friction point is the internal battery.
It always is with AR.
Let's outline the official power specifications from the slides. The INMO AIR3 is powered by a 660 milliamp hour internal battery.
To put that in perspective, a modern smartphone might have a 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp hour battery.
Right. Officially, the estimates claim you can get up to 7 hours of standby time, about 3 hours of music playback.
1.5 hours of continuous video playback and roughly 1 hour of continuous video recording.
The charging speeds are decent, though. You can get from 0 to about 59% to 30 minutes, and a near full charge in roughly an hour.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look closely at real-world performance versus those official maximums.
Definitely.
The most pressing constraint for power users is the battery deficit under active use.
Meaning you are actually running those Android applications, utilizing the multi-screen workflow, or querying the AI.
Exactly. Under that kind of load, the battery realistically limits you to roughly 60 to 90 minutes of uptime.
That is a major hurdle for anyone hoping to use these as a complete laptop replacement for an entire workday.
It's just not there yet for that specific use case.
And the constraints aren't just limited to the battery capacity. When you push the hardware, users report processing lag.
The XR processor is capable, but when you run heavy Android apps or try to run 3 floating windows simultaneously, the system can exhibit stuttering and app instability.
It is a stark reminder that while the device is compatible with 90% of Android apps, those apps were originally coded for smartphones.
Smartphones with massive batteries and very different thermal throttling limits.
Right. A processor on your face cannot get as hot as a phone in your hand without burning you.
So the system has to throttle performance to stay cool.
We also have to address the current state of the firmware.
Yeah, early testing indicates that the spatial tracking, specifically true 60OF, or 6 degrees of freedom, is highly experimental right now.
And 60F is a tracking that actually lets you walk forward, backward, up and down around a virtual object.
Yeah.
Right.
Precisely. Like placing a 3D model on a table and physically walking around it to see the back.
Okay.
That positional tracking requires constant camera analysis of the room, which aggressively drains that small 660 milliamp hour battery.
Because of that power draw and the processing load, Sable 60OS is currently limited.
Additionally, certain camera syncing features and maximum resolutions require future software updates to be fully unlocked.
It is a classic scenario where the hardware's potential is somewhat bottlenecked by the ongoing development of the software firmware.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? Looking at the full breakdown, there is a very real trade-off at play.
There always is in bleeding-edge tech.
On one hand, you have unmatched visual clarity. The 1080p micro OLED display combined with the 1D waveguide provides a crisp, legible, and private 150-inch screen that you can actually use for reading text.
You have incredible ecosystem flexibility, bypassing the empty App Store problem by tapping directly into Android.
You have a smart interaction model with the Ring and the AI integration.
But to get that sleek, completely self-contained design, you are absolutely sacrificing battery endurance and dealing with the processing limitations inherent to current microcomputing thermals.
To synthesize the entire analysis, the INMO AIR3 is an ambitious leap forward.
It successfully proves that you can combine a premium waveguide display with the open freedom of a standard operating system in a wearable format.
Yes, the 60 to 90 minutes of active battery endurance and the need for further firmware polish are very real constraints.
It is not going to replace your desktop for an 8-hour shift today.
However, the visual clarity it achieves, housed within a discrete, standalone architecture, makes it a formidable look at the immediate future.